What's going on, everybody? And welcome to another edition of Giants Collective. As you can see, it's boys' night out. Our girls actually at the game tonight. So welcome in as always. You got Anthony over here, Tane over there. Thank you for joining us tonight on game night. It is Giants game night. Take on the Eagles in about an hour and 15 minutes. Do us a favor, hit the thumbs up, subscribe. It helps out the channel huge. Huge shout out to Sleeper and SeatGeek as always for sponsoring Giants Collective this football season. You can check us out wherever you get your podcasts on iHeartRadio, Amazon, Spotify, and Apple. You can also check us out on TikTok and Instagram. So hit all those things for us. We appreciate you tuning in. And we can get right into the preview. So, Anthony, give us your thoughts about the game tonight. Obviously, the Giants going very shorthanded because not only do we not have Malik Neighbors, obviously, for the rest of the year, but now we do not have Darius Slayton. I hear he's on the IL or whatever you want to call it. He's out tonight with a bruised ego, is what I hear. What's your take on that?
Man, like I said, we're going to learn a lot about Jackson Dart in the coming weeks. You know, just going out there and competing with not a lot of talent around him. How does he handle that adversity? How does he respond on a primetime matchup on a Thursday night against the reigning Super Bowl champions? That's what I'm going to be looking for. For the rest of the year, I'm just watching the rookie quarterback's growth because that's all we really have to watch for. I'm not expecting this team to be relatively competitive. I'm expecting there to be mid-season firings. I think this is a dumpster fire waiting to be lit, but I am excited to see Jackson Dart, and I really like Jackson Dart. So I want to see if he can make this competitive or at least get the ball in the end zone a couple of times against a divisional opponent. I mean, I'm desperate to see the Giants beat the Eagles. I would absolutely love to see the New York Giants win this game, but the odds of that happening don't feel too likely. So hoping that they surprise me, and hopefully we do see some growth from Jackson Dart because, like I said, watching a rookie quarterback the rest of the year, that's all I want to see is just watch him make some incremental growth every single week and just find ways to improve.
That's right. Before we get to Chris, as always, SeatGeek sponsors this portion of Giants Collective. If you want to get some Giants tickets this year, well, you might as well get a discount, right? Because they're probably going to be discounted anyway, but you're going to get an extra 10% off your tickets at SeatGeek. All you got to do is click the link in the description and enter that promo code Giants Collective 10. You get 10% off your tickets at SeatGeek. So if you want to go watch Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterboo go run through somebody's fucking face, make sure you take advantage of the promotion. Chris, what do you think about tonight? We're about to call that game in about an hour. What do you think here?
I saw somebody in the chat say pregame therapy this stream. That sums it up. It's not even a pregame show. It's pregame therapy. You already know you need therapy before the game even starts. But no, hey, listen, it's a football game at the end of the day. Anything can happen. It's why we watch. Giants only 7.5-point underdogs, I think. Last I checked, I'm surprised.
Yeah, I was surprised.
I thought it'd be at least 9.5, 10. But we'll see. I'm excited to see Jackson Dart, but at the same time, I'm going to go in with realistic expectations. Giants got some good news. Jackson Dart won't get spit on tonight because Jalen Carter's out. So that's a big plus for the Giants, not just for the spitting aspect, but he's probably their best player in their defense. And, you worry about the interior offensive line for the New York Giants. So hopefully that helps assist the Giants be able to get some kind of ground game established, something I was surprised they didn't try to do more of last week. Scatterboo only had, I think, 7 first-half carries. I think today you got to try to get that ground game going early and often. Tyrone Tracy's back today as well. So I think that's our only chance if we can establish some kind of ground attack, which is not going to be easy against the Philadelphia Eagles. But the fact that Carter's not playing lends itself to that being more of a possibility. And I think they will use Jackson Dart's legs a lot in this game. A lot.
Yeah, this is going to be tough. It is good that Jalen Carter is not playing. I know John Michael Schmitz can breathe a sigh of relief. I wouldn't want to have to take on Jalen Carter, especially when you've been as disappointing as John Michael Schmitz has been. Of course, most of our players have been disappointing. Our franchise has been disappointing. Everybody's been freaking disappointing, and that's why we are the worst team outside of the Jets in the last 10 years. I mean, that's what happens when you're a poorly run, crappy organization and you always make the wrong moves, whether it be the wrong draft, you draft the wrong guys, you trade for the wrong guys, you sign the wrong guys, you have the wrong guys coaching, the wrong GMs and wrong people in the front office. And you got a lot of issues. That's why you end up being where we are for this many years. I'm with Anthony. This season's a wash. Yankee season was over too, but I guess the Giants season was over for the Yankee season because as soon as the Giants lost to New Orleans, not that we had much of a season, it was over anyway. So just been a rough October for New York. I mean, the Mets missed the playoffs. The Yankees get knocked out. The Jets have not won a game all year, and we've won one. It's been bad. But so because the year's over, I'm really just looking at the development of the rookies. Obviously, Jackson Dart is the guy I want to watch. I want to see him get better every week. I want to see him, just learn a lot so that when we get into next year, he'll be ready to go. Obviously, people know this is my favorite Giant, right? I haven't bought a Giants jersey in years. The last one I bought was McKinney, and I hope that this does not go the way they normally go, which when I buy a jersey, they end up leaving the Giants. I hope Cam Scatterboo is here, but I look forward to seeing Cam Scatterboo. I look forward to seeing Darius Alexander, who I felt had his best game of the year against New Orleans, and it seems like he's getting better each and every week. I'm hoping we could see Thomas Fidone at some point this year, but I'm looking forward just to see, of course, Abdul Carter. I mean, who don't want to watch Abdul Carter play for the rest of the year? So really just kind of looking at this the younger guys, the rookie class, to see how they can do. So pretty much, unfortunately, you get to this point, we know the team is pretty much done, and you're just looking at individual performances and hoping you can see an improvement with some of these guys. At the end of the day, the Giants are a very young team. We don't know what the hell is going to happen next year, who's going to be here as far as regime-wise. We figure Daboll's gone. I think even Anthony, you might have mentioned it in the last show, if the Giants get blown out here, you don't think he can make it through tonight or like to next week, right? It's a long week, so.
Yeah, I think if you're going to move on from a coach, a bye week, a long week coming off of a Thursday night game, when you have those extra days to make the adjustment, that's the ideal time to do it. Not that there is ever an ideal time to fire a head coach, but I just have a feeling, with everything going on with the New York Giants, the tensions being so high, and already seeing pictures of how Eagles fans are flocked to MetLife Stadium tonight. It looks like it's going to be a sea of green. And if the Eagles end up piling on the points tonight and just embarrassing the Giants, if the Giants go out there and look underprepared as they usually do, I could totally see John Mara being riled up enough to do something drastic here over the next few days. So I don't know. I wouldn't call it, but it's going to be a lot of Eagles fans, and it's probably going to be a lot of Eagles points. And if it goes that way, I wouldn't be shocked to see some firings.
Chris, what do you think? Daboll obviously is on the hot seat. I don't think there's any question. I know at the beginning of the year, you figured he would make it through the entire season, as did I. I thought that, hey, even if the Giants were 5-12, but they competed, and they have competed in some of these games. Let's be honest, they were up on New Orleans. They competed against Dallas. They were a couple plays away from probably beating Kansas City, but at the end of the day, because they're not making these plays, because it is kind of lack of execution, lack of focus, whatever it is, it's almost like Anthony just said, lack of preparedness. This obviously falls on the head coach. Do you still think Brian Daboll can make it through the entire year, or do you think he will be? You do? Okay.
Yes. I wouldn't be stunned if he gets fired. The team's a disaster right now, but I just don't think, other than appeasing the fans and giving them something to be happy about for 3 days and then realizing that their team is still shit, I don't really see the huge benefit to firing Brian Daboll with 10 weeks to go. I don't think Mike Kafka is the future head coach of this football team. If you fire Daboll, I think you start from scratch and you're bringing in probably a new GM and a new head coach next year anyway. You got a young quarterback. Daboll was the reason he was here. I still think the Giants are going to give Daboll the year with Dart, or at least up until the end of the year. Maybe they fire him with a week or two to go if things just completely unravel. But I would still be pretty surprised if the Giants fired Daboll after tonight, even if they lost like 31-10 tonight, which is my score prediction.
Well, not even after tonight. I'm not saying like after tonight. I don't think they would do it tonight. Unless maybe if they do lose like 51-0, they got killed on national television, maybe. But I'm saying at all this year before.
It's possible. I wouldn't predict it, but at this point, I wouldn't be shocked either. But it comes down to Dart. I think if Dart looks completely hopeless and you're blowing it all up with, say, 2 or 3 weeks to go, I could see it then at that point. But I don't see it anytime soon.
But I mean, to a point with what you wonder why they would fire him so early, doesn't that give you a head start on next year where you can actually kind of scout other head coaches?
Well,
I guess
you consider doing it with 2 or 3 weeks to go, but I don't think they do it with 10 weeks to go. Let's put it that way.
Anthony,
well, I think it's more of being able to scout your roster. If you feel like the head coach is underpreparing your roster and you feel like the head coach is holding your players back, you want to see that team perform under different leadership and see how they perform. That's more of what it is. And I don't think you fully understand that in just a 2 to 3 week sample size. So that would be the argument for getting the firing done sooner rather than later. You get a larger sample size to evaluate this team, hand on film probably to a new GM as well, and say, hey, When they were with Daboll, it's a wash. Don't watch any of that. That the team wasn't playing for him or whatever the issue was. But after he was fired, look at how they adjusted. Look at how much more prepared they were. There's ways to scout the individual players on the roster in a different light if you move on from the head coach, in my opinion.
Do you think the play call? You think things would change that drastically? If it was Kafka, it's not going to be Bowen. Kafka's the logical choice there. Do you think it would change much since they kind of all coach together? I mean, how much do you think it matters at this point?
I don't think it would change much. I don't even think, truthfully, the Giants' offensive play calling has been that bad. It's been really bad inside the red zone, but they're getting a lot of red zone trips. The offensive play calling, the first couple of weeks was pretty bad. And in the red zone, it still is an issue. But they are getting to the red zone quite often. They're hitting these chunk plays. They're making things easy for Jackson Dart. He's able to operate an offense. So it definitely would be Kafka taking over, in my opinion, because he's done a decent job with the offense. But I don't think there would be any drastic change in the way the team looks, because I don't think that any of these guys are good coaches. I think Shane Bowen's a bad coach. I think that Mike Kafka, sure, has done some things here or there. But I don't know. Maybe we would see some changes. It's really hard to project, but they do kind of coach collaboratively is what they say. And I know Daboll does a lot of the game planning and installing of the game plans during the week. And then it's just up to Kafka to call those plays. So if you are going to see a change, it's probably going to be a change in the set plays that they're calling for a week. So I don't think you would really notice it too much.
And I'm not defending Daboll. If you follow me on Twitter, I think we're going to move on from Daboll very soon. I think he's a bad head coach. I just don't get the vibe from the team that they hate Daboll. And that's the only reason why I would see the Giants making a move like that 5 or 6 weeks into the season. I saw him and Jackson Dart hugging each other. I thought they were going to make love on the field 2 weeks ago.
Because he thought he saved his job.
I really don't. I'd be stunned if Daboll got fired this early in the season. Even if they got blown out tonight, I'd be stunned.
The thing is, that's the only reason we don't think he's going to get fired is because of his relationship with Jackson Dart. It's the only thing that's saving this guy at this point. And for that reason, I don't know if that actually is enough for ownership to say, let's give him another 3 months to coach this team, just because of Jackson Dart and his relationship with him. Maybe it is enough because you don't want to stunt your quarterback's growth. I know that's something that we hear a lot. But at the end of the day, no, I don't feel like the locker room completely hates Daboll and has given up on him. I'm pretty sure they do hate Joe Shane. I do think they've given up on that, but I don't think they necessarily, and I don't think the Saquon documentary helps with that, but I don't think they necessarily hate Daboll, but I think there is a collective understanding this team is not in a good place. This is a bad football team. The coaching is holding us back. And I think that collective understanding could potentially prompt the team to move on from the head coach.
Possible.
Do you think, well, if they do fire Daboll, say they fire, to me, I kept thinking the bye was where he gets fired. That was my thought process there. Whatever, because we have a late bye. Was that week 14? Is that right?
Yeah, we got like 4 games after the bye.
Yeah, 4 games after the bye. So I figured if you were going to make it a change, that might be the best place to do it because, again, you have the week off and it is at the end of the year. But to Anthony, 4 games is better than 2, right? You could probably get a feel for if your team is playing better at the end of the year. Maybe not. Who knows who's going to be there? Who knows who's hurt? Who knows who's not? Who knows who's quit? Who knows who's actually given their all? It's tough to tell. Players will always tell you they give you their all, but they're playing for jobs and everything. But human nature is you're going to have a tendency to let down. That's human nature. You're constantly losing. You really have nothing to play for. You're just probably trying not to get hurt, and you just want to go through the motions to get it done. So at that point, you're probably done. Does Joe Shane make it through the year, or do you think it's possible that they just wipe everybody the hell out of there like they did in 2017?
I think he makes it through the year, but I don't think he makes it to next year if this continues. I'm looking at the schedule, Baddog, and it's hard for me to see more than 4 wins for this team right now, and that's probably if things break right. So I think it's very likely both these guys are going to be fired at the end of the year. But again, and now maybe you want to argue with 2 weeks to go, 3 weeks to go, maybe at the bye with 4 weeks to go. You can make a change so you could get a head start on the search if you come to the conclusion that you're going to move on anyway. But I don't see anything in season unless it's very near the very tail end of the year for either one of them.
It just sucks. It seems like every year, and it doesn't seem like it. It is every year before Halloween, we're discussing the next year.
Yeah,
and we're just like in the first week of October, for Christ's sakes, and this just all fell to shit. It's just amazing how quickly it goes downhill. And I just keep wondering to myself if the Giants, again, we probably wouldn't see Jackson Dart at this point, but if the Giants had found a way to beat Dallas and held on to beat them for the first time in 8 years, I just wonder if it would have changed at all, if things would have changed, if the winning would have got these guys going, or they would have made those plays against Kansas City, being a little bit more confident. And 1-1 is so much different than 0-2. And you finally would have got past that hump of beating Dallas and beating Dak Prescott for the first time since 2016. But when you're a bad team, I feel like you lose a game like that, and they're all like, here we go again. And how are we going to find a way to lose this game tonight? How are we going to find a way to lose the game against New Orleans? And this team just invents ways to lose games. It's totally unbelievable. If somebody told you this, if you didn't watch football, if you didn't watch the Giants on a weekly basis, and you told somebody the things they do, like, no, you're making that up, man. There ain't no way a team is that bad. No, they're really that bad. It's crazy.
Not good.
It's not good. But the other thing that's not good is obviously we got to talk about it, because this fucking guy just won't leave the Giants alone. And I don't really understand this guy's problem. And that's obviously a Saquon Barkley documentary came out. Now, I'm sure a lot of people in the chat watched this. I just finished watching it before the show. Anthony, I know you mentioned some quotes, and obviously quotes broke before this thing came out. What is your take on this from what you know anyway?
Okay, first and foremost, it's time for Saquon Barkley to move the fuck on. Stop talking about the New York Giants. I'm tired of hearing about him every few months, have a new wrinkle to add to the story of how the Giants screwed him over. He wasn't screwed over. He's making a lot of money. And in that documentary, they make it very clear that the two sides were not that far apart. The New York Giants and Saquon Barkley had a $2 million contract guarantees disagreement. That's it. It wasn't even about the annual salary. They were willing to give him the salary that he wanted. It was over $2 million in guaranteed money in the contract. And that's why he felt so screwed over and felt like he needed to leave and also go on a press tour for 2 years about it. So that's what it was. And there's quotes of him saying, I would have taken $10 to $11 million if the New York Giants would have offered it and operated differently. Bullshit. Because if you felt that way, if you felt like you would have taken a pay cut with the team, you would have been okay with the $2 million in guarantees that they weren't giving you. So that's bullshit. I don't want to hear it anymore. And then the other thing with John Mara not trading him or refusing to trade him, that I do look to Joe Shane, though. And I say, you know, if the owner was so adamant that he didn't want this player traded and he wanted this player retained, I do find it a little bit surprising that Joe Shane couldn't get the deal done. But I also do think, and I'm going to kind of spin this in a different way, it speaks to something that I've mentioned before. John Mara is not a meddling owner. He absolutely does let the general managers have full autonomy. And I've said this before, it shouldn't be John Mara, but there should be somebody who's able to meddle with the general manager. Because the general manager of the New York Giants has had all the autonomy and all the power for the last however many years. And sometimes the general managers for the Giants, whether that's Shane, Gettleman, they make these massive mistakes, and there's no vice president of football operations to potentially hold their hand or hold them in check in any way. And that was one of the things that kind of just rubbed me the wrong way about this whole Saquon Barkley new details saga. There is a dysfunction in the organization from the ownership to the general manager to the rest of the front office level. And right in there needs to be somebody with more say and power, not a Mara family member like Tim McDonald or something. But I just found the whole thing to be a little bit dysfunctional.
Chris, what did you think about the quotes and stuff?
I haven't watched it yet. I know that he came out and he talked shit about the Giants, and it is what it is. We all know the Giants are dysfunctional. They're the worst team in football outside of the Jets over the last 10 years. We know that they've done a lot of dumb things, whether it be Reese, Gettleman, now Shane, their head coaches. So we know they're completely dysfunctional as an organization. They have been for over a decade. For me, like Saquon, it sucks because he was like my favorite Giant since Eli Manning. I loved Saquon. Like, he was like the perfect Giant to me, the way he carried himself on the field, off the field. I don't think there's a player I hate more in the NFL now than Saquon Barkley.
Watch that documentary, you'll hate him even more.
He goes to the Eagles. That's fine. I didn't even hate him for that. I'm not going to root for you.
Oh, you hate him more if you watch it.
I'm sure I will. But I didn't hate him when he signed with the Eagles. I'm like, you know what it is, what it is. When I saw the contract he got, I'm like, there probably wasn't another team willing to give him that amount of money for a running back that's 27 years old, or 26, I think he was at the time, that had an extensive injury history with the New York Giants. I knew he was great. I knew he was going to play great there as long as he stayed healthy. More power to him. He got his money. I didn't even hate him for that. But the fact that this guy is still talking about the New York Giants, this would be equivalent to like when Saquon was here, it was like dating Rosie O'Donnell. Like the Giants are awful. Now this guy gets Jennifer Lopez or whoever you think the most beautiful woman in the world is. He's been there for 2 years. He won a Super Bowl, and he's still talking about Rosie O'Donnell. Move on. I don't want to. Well, why are you still talking about the New York Giants? You should be happy. You won a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't get it at this point. For me, it's kind of ridiculous that he came out with this documentary 2 years after the fact. I haven't watched it, but some of the quotes that I've seen, how he's still talking about Giants and how a whole chapter of the documentary apparently was his discussion about the way that the New York Giants handled his contract negotiations. We already saw that. We saw that. We had the freaking Hard Knocks. We saw the inner workings of that negotiation. I don't need a part two. This is 2 years in the past, so I can't stand the guy.
There's things that I took out of this. Number one, he immediately seems like a petty bitch. Immediately. Because I'm going to tell you right now, and he mentions this before he tears ACL, that Tiki Barber criticized him for not picking up blocks, and Tiki Barber says he's a big running back that runs small. Saquon Barkley said, when I heard that, I wasn't thinking about playing football. Like, I wasn't even thinking about winning. I was playing football for all the wrong reasons, and I wanted to show him, and I just found it funny because I remember Tiki Barber criticizing Eli Manning, and what did Eli Manning do? He didn't go out there and say, I'm going to play a draw, I want to prove Tiki Barber. He went out there and won a fucking Super Bowl MVP, and Saquon's over there trying to prove a point. Supposedly, this documentary was, it's going to be about it rehabbing his ACL. What happened to me, in my opinion, was he tore his ACL, then he wanted to fucking shove it down the Giants' throat, so he started recording all this shit for all those years. You can talk about the contract negotiation shit on Hard Knocks. That's nothing. That was nothing. It was over at that point. Joe Shane is on the phone with him saying, we're up to $13 million a year. And Barkley's like, I told you, I wanted 14 to 14 and a half. And I'm telling you right now, if you watch this documentary, you'll see if the Giants offered him 14 and a half, he would have said he wanted 16. He didn't fucking want to be here ever. He's a lying sack of shit. He's fucking, look at my Twitter, man. He's the Diddy parties. We all know about Saquon and his baby lotion, his baby oil. Fucking Diddy Quan is what he is. Fuck him. He's a petty bastard. Like I said, shut your fucking mouth. You got your bag. You got your championship. What the fuck you keep talking about the Giants for? Keep us the hell out of your mouth. Move on. Go play with Diddy and his buddies and leave us the hell alone. It's that simple. Fuck you, Saquon. I don't think I can put it any more blood to that. It's just a fact. It's true. Watch the damn documentary. It'll piss you right away. It's not even like 10 minutes in. I'm like, this fucking guy's full of shit. Fuck him. There. I think I got that out of I think I'm good now. With that said, let's get to the chat. Before we do that, I'll give you a chance to process everything I just went off on there. This portion of Giants Collective is brought to you by SeatGeek. Listen, if you want to go watch a Giants play, you're not going to be able to get those tickets tonight. You could have watched Diddy Quan play, but you can go in the description, click the link, get 10% off your tickets at SeatGeek. There are other games playing. Like I said, you can go watch Jackson Hart, you can watch Camp Scatter, but you can watch some guys that actually want to be Giants go and play. So check it out. Let's hear from the sponsor. 80 seconds back with the questions after this. What's going on, guys and gals? You looking for a fun activity? You want to get out of the house? You need something to do? Are you looking for a great gift idea? Well, if so, look no farther than the sponsor of Giants Collective, which is SeatGeek. With over 35 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There's more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. Giants season is underway. And say you want to check out Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders at MetLife Stadium? Well, it's easy. Just go to SeatGeek, scroll around, look for the tickets that you want, and SeatGeek's going to have your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots. That's good. The red dots, well, it's not so good. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And of course, I have a code for you guys. You can use the code Giants Collective for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with the promo code Giants Collective. Make sure you click that link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek, for sponsoring Giants Collective, and let's go Giants! where we're going. But big shout out to SeatGeek. And, of course, big shout out to Sleeper. They sponsor this portion. They sponsor the Q&A portion of Giants Collect. Appreciate them coming aboard. You want to take advantage of the fastest growing sports app in the world. Over 11 million people are on the Sleeper app. Check it out. It is awesome. I have a lot of fun on it. And just like the Giants, I am 1-4 in my picks this year, but that doesn't stop me from trying, right? So you can try out Sleeper for free. All you got to do is sign up for an account with Sleeper, and they're going to give you a free $20 with no deposit required. Just click our link in the description. That's all you got to do. Free $20 to try it out. And if you like it, you still are eligible for that 100% match deposit bonus on your first deposit, all up to $100. Just use that promo code HMA. You're going to get it. So open an account with Sleeper. Have some fun. You can win up to 1,000 times your cash. Test your football knowledge, and let's see what you got. I'm glad that people enjoyed that rant. I'm glad I can make it. Listen, it's been a lousy year, so if I can bring any levity to what the hell we do here, I will do the best I can. I don't know.
I've definitely graduated to I Hate Saquon, which
Good.
I used to
Wait,
love.
watch a documentary. I'm telling you, you really dislike him.
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody could watch that. I'm sitting there watching and going, I don't know how anybody can watch that. You don't need to like Joe Shane. I don't know how anybody can sit there and blame Joe Shane for this shit. Oh, that's the other thing. He is actually on the phone with John Mara, and John Mara says, Saquon, we're not going to trade you. Not going to trade you. You're too valuable. We're not going to trade you. John Mara told him we're not trading him. It's on the phone. It's a phone conversation. So, Larry, I had a busy day at work. I wasn't planning on drinking. But on the way home, I remembered, primetime Thursday night against the primetime Thursday night football, Eagles, Giants, better get some beer. I might actually drink one.
Better get some gasoline.
Yeah. Clorox.
Some bleach.
Yeah, Clorox. Mr. Watt, thank you. According to Tim, Mike Kafka will be the coach soon.
Who's Tim?
Who's Tim?
Tim Mara? Is that a guy? Am I making that up? I don't know. Tim McDonald. Who? I don't know. A guy, SPP Williams. SPP Williams. Absolutely legendary Giants fan, 12:30 in the morning over there. I hope SPP Williams isn't planning on staying up to like 4:30 in the morning to watch this dumpster fire he's about to see.
He's gonna. He says a lunatic. I already know he's gonna.
We love our guys from across the pond. He says, "Happy Collective Day. Let's have a documentary called The Giants Way, where they show how to put in a rookie with absolute garbage wide receiver."
Giants are master class in that. Daniel Jones, Jackson Dart. Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing Saquon mentions. He doesn't really just say Daniel Jones sucks. But he talks about how there's only like 4 quarterbacks that ever make the Super Bowl type of thing. And he mentions like the elite quarterbacks, like, not every team's got one of those. And I'm like, because he was mad. And I said this the year that this shit happened. I remember when we were talking to Patty Train, I said, Patty, is there any dissension in the locker room? Do you feel there's dissension because Jones got paid and Barkley didn't? I always thought that divided the locker room. I always thought there was an issue with that, with the players. So I still think there was, no matter what they say. But
there was. For sure there was. I know that there was. I've talked to people. There definitely was. Kayvon Thibodeau basically said it. There was in an interview as well. So on a podcast, he said that he felt like Saquon should have gotten paid first. And another thing, you see how vocal Saquon has been since he left the New York Giants about his contract negotiations. He was obviously vocal during the negotiations in the locker room. That's where all of this is stemming from. That's strained. But that is on the general manager to understand there are certain guys who are really good. You got to pay them for your locker room. It's a part of it. And, that's what it boils down to. But that definitely strained the locker room, and I think strains the relationship of all the players with the general manager, the coaching staff, everything. I think that letting Saquon go and paying Jones over him did a lot of damage to this team, unfortunately.
They should have kept both. But it should have been a tag and get Saquon done on a reasonable deal. It didn't happen. We can't go back in the past.
The other thing I want to say about that documentary is I saw Ryan Dunleavy looked like he's a lot fatter than I thought he was. I just wanted to put that out there too. Tudo, thank you so much. He says,
I just thought I'd throw that tidbit out there.
It's Eagles Giants, man. I'm on fire tonight. This is what the Eagles bring out. The Eagles bring out the worst in me by far. No team brings it out worse than this fucking disgusting, gross ass filthy fucking Eagles team. I hate them. I fucking hate them. I can't stand them. I hate this team so much. You know, all day on Twitter, I've had to listen to Boston Red Sox fans, Mets fans talk shit about that's nothing compared to how much I hate the damn Eagles. Nothing. Tudo says, massive respects to Kings of New York Giants podcast. The old diet Giants fans across the pond. Greetings from our entire team in Italy. And please slap Saquon's, Diddy Quan's baby oil ass out of here. JJ, he says, I got my 44 jersey as well, Baddog. Can we compete? No. If I'm being honest, probably not. Probably not. Our guy Moo. 1 hour till the paint starts. We're all idiots. Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna have any pain tonight. I'm going in with that.
We're done already.
This is my new strategy, Baddog. I went into the Chargers game with no expectations. I thought we were gonna get destroyed. I'm going into this game with the same expectations, and hopefully they shock me again.
This would be a real shock.
But I will say, not that I think we're going to beat them, but the Eagles have not played well. And now you're missing Carter. They have not played well.
Everybody has to get right game against the Giants.
That's true. Yeah.
Don't worry, AJ Brown will have 210 tonight. Don't worry about it. Watch that happen. Where are we?
You know, actually, though, before you get to this next super, one other thing that I wanted to ask you guys about, because we talked about the Saquon documentary. Did you guys see Daniel Jones's interview with Ryan Fitzpatrick and Andrew Whitworth and his comments about, so you guys know the comments about the preparation in Minnesota, and he was asked to directly compare it to the Giants in his answer. Like Andrew Whitworth asked him, what'd you learn after leaving the Giants and going to Minnesota? And I took the whole thing. It felt to me like he was trying to signal there's a level of preparation that's out there for other teams that's just not held for the New York Giants. That's how I interpreted what he was saying. And that's something that we've been saying for a while.
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to take a direct shot at the Giants. It was the way that the question was framed. It looked like he was taking a shot at the Giants, but he definitely implied that Minnesota has a much better way of doing things. It's specific to the quarterback position. He definitely hinted at that for sure, which shouldn't surprise anybody. Look at the quarterbacks that KOC. I mean, Cousins had several great years there. Sam Darnold's now playing like one of the top 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks in the league. Daniel Jones got to play for a half a year there on the practice squad. Now he looks like a top 10 quarterback. So shouldn't surprise anybody that they have a much better quarterback preparation than the New York Giants do.
Yeah, shouldn't at all. And that's why I'm worried. That's why, at the beginning of the year, and Tudo told me for years, fat fuck Dumbo wasn't it. And I kept saying, nah, I think he's good. But now I'm like, get him the hell away from Jackson Dart. I mean, that's really the way I look at it. And I don't need to look any farther. People can say whatever they want about Daniel Jones. Oh, they haven't played anybody, and he's only got 6 passing touchdowns. There's a lot more to football than just statistics. Watch him play. He didn't play like this here. He's confident, man. He's making moves. He's sliding in the pocket. It's just
they've played 5 games. He's got 2 40-point games with the Colts. He didn't have one with the Giants.
I mean, he had one. He had one.
7. Or maybe one. Maybe I forgot one. But
he's just he plays a lot. And listen, he's got Jonathan Taylor, so he's not going to throw the ball 40 times. Yeah. When you get down to the 3-yard line, and I got like, hey, Daniel, go pad your stats and throw this touchdown to Tyler Warren, who's a beast, by the way. Well, good, we're going to pad your stats. No, because Indianapolis ain't stupid. They're not going to get cute down there. Hey, we got the best running back in the league. Dude, take it to the house. Take it inside the 5. They're smart. That's why they score all the time. Hey, Jonathan Taylor can run the ball. We got a great offensive line. How about we just give it to him? Oh, okay. When you're the fucking Giants, how about we just play action? Well, let's throw it to Marcus Bowe. Let's do that. That's what we're going to do. Or let's throw it 4 fucking times. Let's run 4 in patterns on the goal line so Russ has nowhere to throw the ball. Let's do that. That's a good play call, too. Fuck, I'm pissed, man. This game hasn't even started yet. I should go take a nap. I'm tired. Where am I? Rich, Bowen, don't be a bitch. Use your bullshit play calling. Oh, use your ball. Oh, I'm sorry. Use your balls play calling. And no bullshit. Use your balls. Just blitz. Come on.
They're gonna tear us apart tonight if we blitz them. I hope they got 2.
They will tear us apart if they let Jalen Hurts sit back there.
That's true. We're going to get torn apart no matter what we do tonight.
That's true. Chocolate Thunder. can we get a free large Pepsi again if we keep? I think it was only a medium.
It was only a medium.
And it had to be split. Whoever bought the tickets was the one that got the medium soda. So if they bought 4 tickets, 4 people got to split the soda.
It wasn't even a medium. I remember seeing the pictures, Baddog. You know when you go to the movie theater,
well, they also fill it with ice.
That's true. But you know when you go to the movie theaters and you ask them for a complimentary cup to split the soda, that's the type of soda cup that they gave out, and they called it a medium. So
right, yeah. And like I said, they fill it with ice, so it ends up being, and they're probably the bottom of the keg. You get to the bottom of the keg of a soda, and it's like all that it's not even syrup, it's just whatever it is, and no one even knows what that liquid is. That's probably what they got.
Yeah.
Half flat soda, 4 straws. There you go. Share it up. Compliments of John Merritt to all the season ticket holders that go and watch this great team we put on the field week in and week out. B-Rock says if they get blown out, what happened now or during the bye, if at all. Talking about Daboll getting fired there.
Anthony's leaning that he could be fired. I don't think he would be.
I don't think he's making it that much further if they keep losing. That's just how I feel about it. I think the only reason Jackson Dart is in the lineup right now is because had he lost that game against the Chargers, he would have been fired after that game against the Chargers. I think that's the only reason Jackson Dart is in the lineup.
What do you think about after the second Eagles game? Because it's very likely we go 0-3 here. Because we got Philly, then we're at Denver, then we're at Philly. Do you think that's more possible? Because it'd be like halfway through the year at that point. We'd be 1-7 at that point.
Listen, it's got to depend on how the team looks in these 3 games, though. Because if they lose tonight, but they lose by 3 points, people are going to look at that as a moral victory win in the Giants locker room, right? Like they were competitive with the Eagles.
He's out of those.
And you know what? A lot of the shit that we're saying, like we're talking about him getting fired if they lose, they very well could somehow win tonight. Like I don't expect it, but wouldn't it be the most Giants thing ever to beat the Chargers, lose to the fucking Saints, and then somehow beat the Eagles on primetime? Like it wouldn't make any sense to anybody.
If they ever won tonight, Daboll's not getting fired till the end of the year. I think
right. So, but that's really how it is for him. He's playing for his job every single week because the piano could fall at any time. He really could get fired at any time, in my opinion. If they have one performance, like remember that game against the Chargers years ago? It wasn't when Daboll was coaching, but they dropped like 50 on him. Maybe it was the Rams, whatever, and you just knew that it was going to be a bloodbath. Yeah, you knew it was going to be a bloodbath after that. Like everybody was gone. If something like that happens, let's say against the Broncos next week, Broncos are catching fire right now. Broncos hang 50 on the Giants, he's gone. Like the next day, obviously. That's how I feel about it. So every single week, that's just how I feel about it. I think his job is here on a week-to-week basis. I don't think there's any leash of he's got the next few games to get it right. I don't think it's anything like that. He's got to be competitive tonight. If they get blown out by 50, he's gone. If they win somehow, he's probably extended himself some weeks. But I really think it's just a week-to-week thing here, and it's going to depend on how the losses look.
If the Eagles lose this game tonight, I'm looking right at the camera. Eagle fans, you better stay off of Twitter for 10 days. I will drive you insane if you lose this game. Trust me, I will. Trust. Calder says, are Scadaboo and the chosen one Jackson Dart. Oh, R2 Scadaboo. I see what you did there. And the chosen one Jackson Dart, let's go. It's really the only reason I watch these games is because of them and Abdul Carter. But I like Scadaboo.
Can't wait to see some tush pushes.
And Burns.
Scadaboo.
Burns is fun to watch.
Scadaboo is my spirit animal, though. If any personality embodies mine, it's him.
You ran into telephone poles as a child?
But it'll explain my brain damage. With that, I'm a Giants fan. That explains it. I got to have some kind of brain damage to cover this team for all these years. Tutto, grazie, says Baddog. All Giants need next season. Proven GM, proven head coach, mate. Giants got to get young, talented rosters, accept no playbooks, no preparation, which is their fault. Speaking of personal experiences. You're right, Tutto. I mean, the coaching sucks.
I think he's wrong, and they need more than that. They need a priest. They need a rabbi. They need something spiritual. But yes, a better coach and GM will go a long way towards it.
Maybe instead of a plane with a banner, they can just have a plane drop just gallons of holy water on MetLife Stadium.
What do they call Muslim sheiks? I think whatever holy person there is, the Giants need that.
Yeah, can we bring the Pope to MetLife Stadium? Is that possible? Has the Pope been there before? Bless the field, something, anything, please. SPP Williams. Nobody will agree it won't happen. I'd fire Daboll Friday, fire Boa and Kafka. Patterson head coach with DC duties and Brasillo offensive coordinator focused on the trenches.
If I remember correctly, Patterson has a medical issue that's prevented him from taking steps forward, so he won't be the interim head coach. But I get what SVP is saying. Just fire everybody. I get it, but
it would. I agree with Anthony. If it ever were to happen, which again I don't think it will, at least not until near the end of the year, I think Kafka would be the head coach. I think he has the assistant coach label, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes, he does.
And it would be the least amount of disruption for Jackson Dart, which should be a priority, being that he's the offensive coordinator right now. So if it were to happen, I think Kafka would be the head coach for the rest of the year. Who else are you going to choose? Shane Bowen? You're not doing that.
Carmen Brasillo, I feel like, he's done a good job.
Yeah, he's done a good job.
Andrew Thomas makes a big difference, but I feel like he's done a good job. I don't feel like the offensive line is the reason we're losing games, which we always said that was the problem, but I don't think that's the reason we're losing games right now.
Last week, the offensive line was the best unit on the team.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah. Not saying a whole lot because the other units were horrible, but
but the defensive line looks good last week. It's just hard for him to get home when the fucking receiver is open in the first half a second of the play. So, but they were disruptive. I don't know if you guys have seen. I think Pilato and Dan Schneider, they've been posting clips of the Giants' defensive line was getting held like crazy against the Saints, and there were no calls. But it was like worse than usual, though. Like that was rough.
That was terrible. Saw that all the time. Like he's getting held. It's just bullshit.
And I see SPP said we say that every game. SPP special teams also good unit this season. Yep. I saw somebody posted on Twitter and it backed up what we say every week, Bad Dog. I think statistically, the Giants are third best in the NFL in yards gained on special teams. And you see it every week, both on kick returns and kick coverage. It hasn't resulted in any wins, but the Giants have actually been really good on special teams this year so far.
They have been, which is crazy because those have been our two worst units. And but yeah, Anthony, right? For whatever reason, when the Giants play off man coverage, they play like the first down is the goal line like 30 seconds to go. Like that's the way they play defense. You're never going to get home. You could move all the linemen out of the way. And if the guy just has to turn around 4 yards and the guy's 5 yards off of him, it's easy. You're just giving them to him. I mean, Hank Stram, you go back and watch Super Bowl highlights, Super Bowl 4. Hank Stram says right in there, it's like stealing. They're letting us catch all these quick passes like stealing. We got to do more of it. They're letting us just catch all these passes underneath. Now, I mean, that's back in 1970, but still, that Minnesota defense was known for their front four. That's how they got their nickname, the Purple Gang, the Purple People Eaters, whatever you want to say. But when you just play off man and the guy can just run out a 5-yard out and you're going to get 5-6 yards before contact, it's tough for those big guys to get home. Bowen's got a blitz. Just go for it. Just bro, you're 1-4. It's the Eagles. Just go. Send them all. Fuck it. Bring your friggin' corners up and jam them at the line of scrimmage and let your guys go. Try something different. Stop being a pussy and frickin' be aggressive. Be aggressive. Danny, thank you. It's hard to talk about another coaching change in week 6. I'm so tired about new coaches. I do think you have talent. So the other thing would make changes is the scouting department.
But if you think they have talent, wouldn't the scouting department be doing their job to a certain extent? I personally don't think they have nearly enough talent on this team. I still think there's a lot of holes on this team. We definitely have more talent on this team than we've had in a while, as we talked about going into the year. We're deep, but we still lack, in my opinion, at least talent in a lot of areas. I still think the interior offensive line is not very good. John Michael Schmitz is getting better, not saying a whole lot because he's been awful his first 2 years in the league. Illuminor's played well. We'll see if he's back here long term. Wide receiver outside of Malik Neighbors, we have nobody. Defense, linebacker without Bobby O'Carroll. I mean, not great in my opinion, especially with
losing McFadden didn't help.
Yeah. So not a lot of depth there. The secary's been god awful. That was the number one priority for
big disappointment.
Entire offseason. He spent a boatload on both the safety and the corner that we brought in a Daboll.
$100 million for a Daboll and Holland. Been terrible. Underwhelming. Very underwhelming.
Yeah. So I still think we need a lot more talent on this team. So
I agree, but the one reason I would, if they fire Joe Shane tomorrow, I'm not going to be mad about it. But if they kept him, I wouldn't be mad about it either, just because I do feel like he's getting better every year. I do feel that way. And I do feel like if these guys were better prepared on the field and they were coached better, that we would have beat Dallas and we would have beat New Orleans and we'd be 3-2. It'd be a whole different story here.
Yeah, to some extent, I do agree because especially with the secondary, I look at that secondary and I don't think it lacks talent. It's the talent's just not showing up on the field, but I really think it is a coaching problem with all the cover one. They're running cover one like 40% of the time, 55% on third downs. That's the most predictable defense in football. Most teams run that single high shell so that they can stop the run. The Giants aren't even good at stopping the run. So I don't know what they think the cover one is accomplishing, especially when the cornerbacks are 9 yards off the line of scrimmage. So they're just giving free receptions to these receivers, and they're a poor tackling team, which goes back into the preparation. But again, there's talent there. Like Javon Holland was a great tackling safety for the Dolphins. All of a sudden, he's not tackling. Tyler Nubin was a great tackling safety during his collegiate career in Minnesota. All of a sudden, he can't tackle anybody. So there's something wrong, in my opinion, with the defense, the preparation, the coaching. But I honestly do think Paulson Adebo's talented. I think Javon Holland's talented. I think Deonte Banks is a talented player who is just stuck in a terrible situation. And it really highlights to me, the Giants run the most cover one man in the NFL. They run bottom three, cover three. So when you see the single high, every offense knows exactly what it is, and it's cover one. So there is no disguising in this defense because their coverage rates, it's like 15% cover three, and it's like 45% cover one. So that means if you see the single high, you know exactly what it is. It's man coverage, and you can just run a man beating route. And that's why the Giants cornerbacks are getting picked on so much. There's just no disguising of this defense. So I exonerate a lot of those defensive backs in this Giants defense, and I think that it really is a problem in terms of Shane Bowen not knowing the personnel that he has or how to utilize it.
Yeah. Coaching sucks too. You're not going to get me to argue with you on that. The coaching sucks for sure, but I still think we lack. When I look at the teams we go up against week to week, I don't think we're on even footing from a talent standpoint with the majority of them. I still think we need more talent on this team.
Again, I think that Shane. In 2022, this really wasn't his fault. I mean, to me anyway, nobody looked at that Evan Neal pick and go, wow, that was fucking dumb. You know what I mean? Nobody looked at Kevon Thibodeaux and go, well, that was a stupid pick. Now, we can say Wandale, that was questionable. Even when we did the draft, like that was a weird pick. But we're like, he must know something. Like there must be a system. We don't know anything about Joe Shane. We don't know anything about Brian Daboll. We figured maybe that's just a perfect guy for what they want to do here. But I do think that Joe Shane has gotten better each year, drafting and bringing in free agents. You can like his attitude or not like his attitude. That's fine. But again, if they fired him after the game tonight, they told him, get the fuck out, go walk home, whatever. I'm not going to be like, oh, why'd they let him go? But if they kept him, I'm not going to be like, oh, why'd they keeping him?
I agree with that. I'm not going
to. We're on year 4 Gettleman. That's where I am with Joe Shane, or year 3 with Gettleman. If they fire him, okay. If they keep him, okay. That's where I am with Shane.
Yeah.
The only thing with Shane, I think everybody knows I'm not a big Shane guy. And so if we're talking about firing him midseason, I just don't think there's much of a benefit of firing the general manager midseason. That doesn't really benefit you as much as a coaching change would, because the coaching impacts the locker room so much. And I guess, I don't know, the locker room does hate Joe Shane, so maybe it would help. But I think with Joe Shane, one of the things, though, that confuses me, this is one of the worst teams in football. They definitely don't have enough talent. But somehow they also don't have any cap space. They have spent more money than every other team in the NFL, and yet they're arguably the worst or top 3 worst teams in the NFL. They have $1 million in cap space. How the fuck is that possible with this team being as bad as it is?
He doesn't do what the Eagles do. He doesn't backload the contracts. He doesn't use void years.
But this is why we didn't have a little Jordan Humphrey called up last week. Why we didn't have any wide receivers come off of the practice squad last week, because Joe Shane didn't want to give them a new salary.
He's not creative. He's not creative.
But it's also
he's responsible when it comes to the cap. Like he hasn't. I don't think he shelled out any insane contracts for the most part. But he's also not creative. He doesn't move money around like some of these other general managers.
Yeah. But the thing with the void contracts, I understand why he doesn't necessarily do that. But we can say, oh, well, he doesn't give the Giants long-term cap problems because he doesn't have the void contracts. But then he goes and he restructures as many contracts as possible pretty much every single offseason. So, no, he's not backloading these contracts. He's front-loading them. It's the same shit because he's just going to backload them later on by restructuring the deals. So it it confuses me. I don't really think he's got a good understanding of it.
In certain instances, though, Anthony, it's appropriate. You want to a guy like Andrew Thomas, you expect him to be here the next 10 years. So you hope.
Yeah, sure. But it's the fact that they have to restructure a contract every single offseason. They only have $19 million going into the next offseason. That's not a lot. Like, that sounds like a lot right now, $19 million in cap space. It's not a lot. They're going to have to sign a roster back up to 90 men. They're going to have the 51 cutoff, of course, but they're going to have to get 51 contracts under the salary cap next offseason with only $19 million in extra. It's not a lot of money. They run out of it very quickly every single year, and it just speaks to me a lack of understanding of how to long-term navigate the salary cap from Joe Schoen. So even if he does hit on a couple draft picks, I like the Scadoo pick, I like the Tracy pick. There are some good ones. Long-term, what he's done with the salary cap, maybe that's okay. But in the short term, he does a lot of damage to this team, and it makes it really difficult for them to operate week to week during the regular season.
It's weird, though, too, because, the cap wizard is Howie Roseman, and Brandon Brown worked under Howie Roseman. So I'm actually surprised that the Giants haven't been able to figure this.
It all falls into place when you find your quarterback. Once you find your franchise quarterback, you feel a lot more comfortable doing things like the Eagles do and backloading contracts and putting in void years. You got to be a quarterback.
Hopefully we got him. Sebastian says, watching John Gruden talk about the Giants, dude has more optimism than us fans. We need energy like his to set our boys straight. He loves Dart. He does love.
I love Dart. All I do is praise Jackson Dart, dude. I'm obsessed with the kid. I think he's going to be a star. I'm just afraid that they're not giving him an opportunity to be a star, and that's frustrating. It's frustrating for Dart. Well, it's not yet, but it will be by the end of the season. He's going to be frustrated. We're all already frustrated because we've seen this story. We've read this story many, many times now with the New York Giants, but I'm really excited about Dart. I've got positive energy for him. I've got positive energy for Scadaboo, for the defensive line, and a few players. But it's just really tough to maintain that energy on a week-to-week basis when you see them turn the ball over 5 times and lose to the fucking Saints and Spencer Rattler, so it's tough.
We'll get the rest of the questions after this. Again, we're going to have to fire through these because the game is starting soon. But again, big shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring this Q&A portion of Giants Collective. Let's hear from them 30 seconds back after this.
Sleeper is the #1 fantasy sports app. It pays to know sports. Pick more or less on top players. Your first pick is on us, so start winning now. Play in Texas, Georgia, Minnesota, and 27 more states. Pick anytime across all sports, pregame or live. Over 10 million players are already on Sleeper. Make your picks count. Score up to 1,000 times your cash. Join today. Get up to $100 credit using the code HMA. Call your shot on Sleeper. Download now.
Don't forget, if you open an account with Sleeper using our promo code, you get a free $20 to try it out. No deposit required, so make sure you check that out. That's the best thing going. You get to try it out for nothing. So, like I said, click the link, open an account with them, get you $20, and have some fun. Tuto, Bad Dog, Fat Fuck Dumbo, 6 fucking months, 2 picks, 53-man rosters. You sign a playbook, which will work with his rosters and prepare them to win matches according to the schedule. Yeah. I try to give him the benefit of the doubt, but you've been calling him Fat Fuck Dumbo for like 2 years, and obviously you knew something we did, but you play. I mean, so, you get it better than I would. I'm just seeing it now, unfortunately. It took me a while. Jordan says, I'm genuinely anxious for us being on Hard Knocks. That's going to be horrible to watch, I feel.
I don't think I'm going to watch it, if I'm being honest.
It's bad.
I got to watch it. Just get it all out of the way.
Yeah.
Roman says, thank you, Bad Dog. You're the man. You don't need to thank me. But how can I be the man when you're the man? But I'm glad that you enjoyed that rant because I felt like I had to get that. I knew what after I got done watching the documentary, I'm like, I'm going to go. When we talk about that, because I knew that was a talking point tonight, I'm like, I'm going to go off now because that really made me mad. Stormtrooper says, thank you guys for making it fun for us miserable fans. Thank you. Try to do our best. I'll tell you, Twitter's always a war zone, but when I tweet some things, man, some of the comments that I get are freaking hilarious. Some of the responses are so funny, man. And I need to laugh myself because this team sucks. Larry, thank you. Just so everyone knows, I just read that this Barkley doc started 5 years ago. So it's 5 years worth of him complaining about the Giants. Yes, it's when he tore his ACL. So he wanted to document everything at that point because he got mad at Tiki Barber for Tiki saying he runs like a small back, even though he's a big back. And then he wanted to prove Tiki wrong. And he ended up tearing his ACL and said, let me record this now so that I have documentation of the Giants really screwed my career. Fuck you, Barkley. Go change your pad, Saquon. Was a heavy flow day for you? Fuckhead. Just sail on baby oil, Diddy Kwan. Go get it. JWN says Giants going to make me 10 beers deep by the half. Yeah, let's go. I'll be 10 beers deep at that tailgate, I tell you that. Greg says Diddy Kwan is a two-faced liar. Yeah, yes. I'm serious. Go to my Twitter. They're saying happy birthday to him. He's right there. I know. We know, Saquon. We know all about you. David says, how different would the defense be under Wink? Oh, Wink dreamed about this defense when he was the defensive coordinator for the Giants. He dreamed about this.
They would have been blitzing on more, that's for sure.
I can't imagine what Wink could do with this defense. Or Spagnuolo. Like, we're never going to get it, Spagnuolo. But can you imagine? What he could do with this?
Like, Spagnuolo was the head coach.
Do you think he'd want to be a head coach? How old? He's 68 now, right? Isn't he?
I didn't know is he that old?
I think he's that old.
65, 68, somewhere.
I mean, maybe he would, but it's not like the Giants treated him really good either near the end.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs pay him a head coach's salary from what I've read. So if it's something, the only reason he would do it is if he wanted to try and take on that challenge. But the New York Giants are a tall challenge for a 65-year-old man to take on. So I don't know if it's realistic.
Coughlin did it. He had to be close to 65 when he took the job, right?
True.
Sam.
True. Yeah, maybe.
B-Rog, thank you, buddy. Stop the damn fucking run. STDFR. Yeah, I would love them to really fuck him up. I know they're not going to, but one can hope. Bob, thank you, buddy. Do you guys think soft zone Bowen is using Carter right?
I don't think he's using anybody right.
He runs soft zone. It drives me insane. He does not run soft zone. He plays man coverage more than any defensive coordinator in the NFL. That's why this Giants defense sucks. Go watch Deonte Banks at Maryland. He only ran zone coverage at Maryland. That's why this guy can't cover anybody worth a fucking damn. This is an improper usage of the talent on the roster. They should be running zone coverage. I wish they were running zone coverage. If they were running zone coverage, you wouldn't have guys wide open because there would be people in zones and in spaces, so there wouldn't be these large spaces to throw into because the Giants cornerbacks can't stick with these receivers in man coverage. That's the problem. It's the man coverage, not the zone coverage. So he's using Carter fine. Carter's moving all over the defensive line. That's what he should be doing. They're using him like he's Micah Parsons, and that's the right thing to do to answer the question. But it's not a soft zone defense. If it were a soft zone defense, I guarantee you it would be a better defense than what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, but to your point, the off man allows it just Abdul Carter can have a free run to the quarterback, and he's going to hit a receiver because they know that, like you said, there's no disguise, so they know what they're getting. So it's easy to get rid of the ball and not have to hold on to it. So the pass rush can't get there, which is pathetic. And listen, when 0-10 Spencer Rattler calls you out on it, and then he proceeds to tear you up, how shitty does that look if you're Shane Bowen?
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, they also run press coverage at like the 30th most rate in the NFL. So they never press, and they just sit there and off man, and that's, again, why quick slant to Rashid Shaheed for 12 yards, quick, skinny post to Chris Olave for 15 yards. That's what it is. It's the off man. It's the soft man coverage.
And lack of tackling, that could end up for 40 yards.
Yeah, that if you're going to play man coverage, you got to be able to tackle. I mean, because in man coverage, it's just you and the guy. So if the guy catches the ball, it's just you versus him. And if you can't tackle, there's nobody around you in these zones, you're screwed. And that's why the Giants are screwed so often, especially on those second and third and longs, because that's when they love to play that man coverage. Quick pass, broken tackle, all of a sudden it's a first down.
B-Rug says the Pope tore his ACL at MetLife. He ain't coming.
Ray, we'll be on my channel, by the way. I saw you come in and ask that. We'll be on my channel.
Chris says Father Karras and Father Marin to exercise this team. Please. The power of Christ compels you. One time. I'm not going to say it. I thought about that line when she tells Father Karras what his mother does in hell. And I was going to apply that to Saquon, but I'm not going to do it. Jim says, if no offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, realistic head coaching candidate next season, there's a bunch you can choose from, I think. Bunch of coordinators, bunch of college coaches. You can find somebody who's going to get fired that's been a head coach. I don't
even want to speculate on that.
It's too early now, though.
Yeah, I have to see, which coaches become available. I mean, we could talk about coordinators, but I'd like to see the interview candidates that they bring in before I even speculate on that.
The one thing that I'll say, though, if we're going to speculate on coaches at some point, we should look to the Vikings. Daniel Jones just gave the big glowing review of the Vikings coaching staff and credited them with his development going over to the Colts. Sam Darnold, we all saw that. Josh McCown has been a riser. He's been a hot name for potential head coaching vacancies. He's the quarterback's coach for the Vikings. There are a lot of talented coaches on that staff, and I think the Giants should definitely look into that staff whenever they do get to that part of the process.
Especially since they have a young quarterback that could use some development, right? I mean, you'd like a guy to work with Jackson Dart that can get the most out of him so that he is your quarterback for the next 15 years. Jordan says, that's what I'm saying. We're getting in the backfield and defense. Our secondary can't hold on for 2 damn seconds for us to finish a sack.
Exactly.
It's happening too fast. They don't have a chance. JWN says, I got to look at the tape. Daboll's something else. Daboll is something else. But with that said, guys and girls, we're going to get out of here because it is game time. Where's my main screen? There it is. Of course, thank you guys and girls for tuning in. If you haven't done so, hit the thumbs up, subscribing the bell. Huge shout out to Sleeper and SeatGeek for sponsoring Giants Collective this football season. Check us out wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, all that good stuff. You can check us out on TikTok and Instagram as well. And with that said, let's all go watch a shit show together. For Anthony and Entertainah, it is the Baddog Dizzle. I'm going to log out, go get a beer, and then come back and enjoy the rest of my night. Anyway, the best I can. So enjoy the game, guys. I guess let's go Giants. Maybe Saquon will slip on some baby oil and we'll be good to go. Have a good night, everybody. We have peace. I don't know where.